On the cusp of dawn, the Indiana sun began its gradual ascent over Bloomington, a township nestled in gentle slopes and verdant woods. It was in this unassuming town, where the whispers of yesterday still stirred in the wind, that Harvey Wellstone called home. Harvey, a man carved from trials, tempered by the echoes of a calamitous tornado that tore away his past, was the town's steadfast sentinel. His dwelling, a quaint, weather-beaten house, seemed an incarnation of the man himself, lined with age, carrying an air of unspoken narratives, yet standing strong. Inside, framed photographs hinted at a life before he was hardened, a family swept away by nature's whim. The walls, much like the man, held onto the memory of the storm, a testament to resilience. This morning, like many others, found him at his wooden desk, an untouched cup of coffee by his side. Across from him sat Sheriff Duncan, a man with a face worn by Bloomington's weather and its worries. He shuffled uncomfortably, his eyes tracing the room's character, from the fraying wallpaper to the stacks of dusty case files. "Harvey," Duncan began, clearing his throat, "we got us a peculiar situation." "And what might that be?" Harvey's gravelly voice cut through the silence, his pale blue eyes mirroring the early morning light. "Disappearances," Duncan murmured, "folks not being seen after they visit the mortician's office." He handed Harvey a worn envelope, its contents spilling out, a collection of missing person reports and hushed town gossip. In Harvey's mind, an image of the mortician, Ambrose, arose. He was a thin specter of a man, his skin taut over a skeletal frame, his voice like the rustling of dead leaves, an unsettling aura hanging over him like a moth-eaten shroud. The thought of visiting Ambrose's establishment, a Gothic relic cradled in Bloomington's heart, stirred a peculiar sensation within him. Perhaps it was the odd taxidermy animals that lurked in the corners, their glass eyes gazing into eternity, or the old photographs that lined the walls, relics of a time lost to the world. They whispered forgotten stories, an eerie symphony that only amplified the stillness of the place. Despite the creeping discomfort, Harvey nodded, an unspoken agreement between him and Duncan. As the sheriff departed, leaving him to his thoughts and the symphony of his silent home, an undying determination kindled within him. As the loyal guardian of Bloomington, an unyielding beacon in the darkness of uncertainty, he was on a path from which there was no turning back. Picking up one of the case files, he traced the worn edges. He knew not what awaited him, but his spirit was unbroken. Much like the tornado of his past, this case threatened to unsettle the calm of his present, yet he would not be swayed. He was driven not by an insatiable hunger for thrill, but by a sincere desire to unveil the truth hidden beneath the surface. As night descended, the wind whispered through the streets of Bloomington, carrying stories of the day and secrets of the impending storm. Ensnared in the web of the unknown, he sat in his dimly lit room, the case files his only company, the whispers his guiding symphony, preparing to step into the darkness that awaited. The following day was obscured by a thick layer of gray clouds, a mirror to the disquiet that crept within Harvey's heart. Today, he would tread the worn path to Ambrose's place, the town mortuary. As he walked, the rhythm of his boots against the cobblestone street composed an elegy of the morning, a solitary melody whispering tales of the unknown. At last, he stood before the mortuary, a mausoleum of memories, its weathered stone walls and towering spires piercing the gloom. The building creaked with age, the ancient oak door groaning in protest as he entered. The scent of formaldehyde was heavy in the air, mingling with the faint, musty smell of old paper. Ambrose, as always, was an embodiment of stillness in his office, his gaunt frame bent over an old tome, his fingers tracing the delicate script. As Harvey's shadow graced the parchments, Ambrose looked up, his pale eyes flickering with a strange light. "Detective Wellstone," he greeted. His voice as brittle as autumn leaves, the words hung between them, stretching the silence. Harvey, clearing his throat, began with the necessary inquiries about the recent visitors to the mortuary, his gaze unyielding, his questions sharp. Ambrose, however, was a master of evasion, his answers winding like an intricate labyrinth. In the awkward dance of questions and vague answers, Harvey's eyes caught on something peculiar. An open ledger rested on Ambrose's desk, but its contents were far from the mundane recordings one might expect. Cryptic symbols, inky scrawls dancing with numerals filled the parchment. He felt the undercurrent of a greater mystery pulsing beneath the mundane surface of Ambrose's office. After his unfruitful conversation, he began to explore the establishment, each room a testament to the oddities that surrounded Ambrose. The preserved animals stared, their glassy eyes filled with an eternal dread, their forms frozen in moments of sheer terror. The ancient photographs, faces from the past forever etched in monochrome, watched silently as he passed by. In a secluded room, an oversized map of Bloomington was spread across a table, pins stuck haphazardly, yarn of different colors weaving a complex web. Upon closer examination, he recognized the locations. They corresponded to the residences of the disappeared. In this labyrinth of the uncanny, the line between his reality and the impending nightmare began to blur. When his hand brushed against a grotesquely shaped artifact, a chilling vision engulfed him. A torrent of swirling darkness, the echoes of the tornado blending with the primal fear of shadowy forms lurking at the edge of his perception. The whirlwind of chaos echoing the chaos that began to stir within his mind. Disoriented, he retreated, each step echoing his rising dread. The world he had known was fracturing, the veil between the ordinary and the extraordinary thinning. As he left the mortuary, the labyrinth of peculiarities remained, an ominous promise of the storm yet to come. The day faded into twilight, the mystery of the mortician's office hanging heavily in the air. Harvey was no longer just a guardian of Bloomington, but a harbinger of the tempest that was silently brewing. As the veil of the known was slowly lifting, he was stepping into the unknown, his path illuminated by the flickering lantern of his unwavering determination. In the dark cradle of the night, where the stars above Bloomington shimmered like silent witnesses, Harvey Wellstone was ensnared in a relentless battle against the chimeras of his sleep. His dreams, once a sanctuary from the day's tribulations, were now filled with the haunting echoes of his ominous visions, a swirling vortex of unseen terrors and forgotten truths. Haunted by the waking nightmare, sleep eluded him, turning his nights into a tapestry of vigil and dread. His home, once a comforting cocoon, was now a stage for the sinister ballet of shadows. In his sleep-deprived state, he pored over the information gathered from Ambrose's office, his weary eyes tracing the cryptic symbols, the labyrinth of threads on the map. His mind, pushed to the edges of reason, began to assemble the disparate pieces. The uncanny alignment of the disappeared residences with ancient ley lines, the peculiar embalming methods that harken back to forgotten rites, Ambrose's eerie fascination with the occult, all pointed towards a reality far removed from the known realm. A realization crept upon him. His visions were not mere tricks of an overwrought mind, but glimpses of a truth hidden in the cosmic shadows. The images that swam in his mind were not his memories, but echoes from the abyss, whispers from beyond the veil of our reality. They were not here to torment him, but to guide him. For he was chosen, not to merely witness, but to partake in the unfurling of cosmic events. In his solitary battle, Harvey did not falter. His loyalty to Bloomington, the indelible love for his fellow townsfolk, and his innate yearning for truth forged a shield against the encroaching madness. Even as the pillars of his understanding of the world began to crumble, he was determined to delve deeper into the abyss, not for glory or for redemption, but to protect his home from the unfolding storm. As days turned into nights and nights into hazy dawns, he scoured ancient manuscripts borrowed from the town's library, decoding cryptic symbols that pointed towards an ancient cult that had once thrived in Bloomington. His relentless pursuit led him to discover a sinister truth. Ambrose was not merely a silent spectator, but the key that connected the seemingly unrelated threads. The cult, the disappearances, the visions, and the cosmic forces that watched from the fringes of the universe. As he stepped back from his wall of discoveries, his mind whirred with the terrifying implications of his findings. He was not merely standing on the precipice of an investigation. He was at the epicenter of a cosmic maelstrom, a silent cog in the grand wheel of cosmic events. With a heavy heart, he understood that the journey ahead was fraught with dangers unfathomable, challenges beyond his realm of comprehension. But he was unafraid. Despite his flickering sanity and encroaching exhaustion, he stood tall, a lighthouse amid the stormy sea of cosmic horror. Under a merciless iron-gray sky, a week since he first plunged into the abyss, the quiet town of Bloomington bore the weight of an impending storm. It was under this atmosphere that Harvey, unflinching and resolute, found himself once more on the path to Ambrose's mortuary. His mind buzzed with the unearthly knowledge uncovered, the fragments of his visions now forming a terrifying panorama of cosmic dread. Upon entering the mortuary, the familiar air of unease greeted him, but he strode forward, his resolve burning brighter than ever. Ambrose, still a specter in his office, was taken aback by the fire in Harvey's gaze. "Ambrose," Harvey's voice echoed through the silent chambers. "The veil has lifted." The mortician's reaction was subtle, a twitch of his thin lips, a flicker in his pale eyes. Yet in that moment, the tension in the room heightened. Gone was the veil of niceties, the dance of diversion. It was a bare confrontation of a guardian and an architect of cosmic horror. Their conversation, now a deadly dance around truths and revelations, was punctuated by the gale that battered the mortuary's windows. As Harvey unspooled the sinister design, the ancient cult, the role of the disappeared in an unspeakable ritual, the veil thinning between dimensions, Ambrose, the puppet master, could only watch in horrified fascination at the unraveling of his grand design. But as the layers of deception were stripped away, a sudden, terrible understanding dawned upon Harvey. The grand plan was not merely to uncover an otherworldly truth, it was the annihilation of their reality, an invitation to horrors from the beyond, an opening of a cosmic maw that would swallow Bloomington, its sacrificial lamb. In that chilling moment, the relentless wind outside transformed into a monstrous roar. An entity, gargantuan and grotesque, began to manifest in the room, its form ever-shifting, indescribable, a vision that mocked the confines of human comprehension. Harvey's dreadful visions, it seemed, were not mere hallucinations, but glimpses of this abhorrent reality. Despite the terror gnawing at his sanity, his unwavering spirit did not yield. In a final act of defiance, he lunged at Ambrose, their struggle mirroring the cosmic battle unfolding around them. Yet, as the boundaries of their reality began to distort, his efforts were swallowed by the maw of the inescapable beast. Harvey Wellstone, the loyal guardian of Bloomington, the selfless sentinel who stood against the cosmic storm, fell not with a thunderous collapse but with a quiet surrender, his final moments a testament to his unwavering spirit. As the dust of chaos settled, Bloomington, once an ordinary town, was irrevocably changed. Where once stood a loyal guardian, only whispers of his heroic defiance remained, echoing in the wind. The cosmic horror had receded, leaving behind a world altered, its forgotten past forever etched in its soil, its future forever haunted by the memory of the inescapable maw. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed our content, show your support with a like and subscribe, and stay notified by hitting the bell icon. Expect more cosmic horror from Eldritch Tales Factory, and feel free to explore our other stories. See you in the next video.